Okay, so very good morning. I would like to thank Dr. Sujani for inviting me to be a part of this instruction course. I will be speaking about the pitfalls in perimetry. I have no financial interest to disclose. So there are times when we find significantly depressed retinal sensitivity points in the visual fields. However, the disc is not looking that bad and we wonder, is it really glaucomatous? So, well, all that is black is not glaucoma. We can get false visual field reports because of errors done on technician's part or by the patient while performing the test. There can be non-glaucomatous changes in visual fields as well, which will be covered in the subsequent presentation. So technician errors can be when the age of the patient is not properly entered, the refractive error is not properly corrected, especially for near vision. The pupillary size is less than 3 millimeters. The patient's head is not properly positioned, which can lead to rim artifacts. There can be a failure to notice ptosis and machine calibration errors. We know that it is very important to correctly enter the age of the patient before beginning the test because all the plots, the total deviation plot is derived from age matched data. And it also helps us to analyze the progression. However, if the age of the patient has been incorrectly entered, we can still read out the raw data values. Near vision needs to be corrected before the patient starts performing the test. Hypermetropia affects the visual field more. When there is myopia of 3 diopters or more, it needs to be corrected. And having a habit of correlating the visual acuity, the foveal threshold, and the retinal sensitivity values helps us get a complete picture. I have an example here. So in this first visual field, you can see that there is generalized reduction of sensitivity. However, the visual acuity or the refractive error correction of the patient is not mentioned. Now, when the same test was repeated by correcting a refractive error of -7 diopters, we can see that we have received a normal visual field. So pupil size of less than 2 millimeters can give rise to diffuse visual field depression or edge scotomas. Like in this example on your left, you can see that there are peripheral edge defects when the patient performed this test with a pupil diameter of 2 millimeters. When this patient repeated the test with a pupil diameter of 3 millimeters now, we can see that these edge scotomas have gone away and the visual field test is normal. So trial lens artifacts are more likely to occur in hypermetropic eyes because here we use plus trial lenses for the correction. So these lenses magnify the visual field. So the peripheral parts of the 30-2 pattern might get obscured by the lens rim or the lens holder. These artifacts can also occur in emetropic or myopic eyes when the tested eye is not centered properly or the lens is situated too far forward from the eye. These tests are easy to be identified if they are appearing in an otherwise normal field because they involve a ring of peripheral points having low sensitivities. Here we can see, as shown by red lines, that the peripheral points are 0, but their adjacent points are showing good retinal sensitivity. So what we get is an organized false defect with sharp borders. But these artifacts are difficult to be differentiated from real progression in eyes where there is more significant visual field loss. To avoid these errors, we should use rimless lenses with their correct positioning. The pupil should be at the center of the lens. The lens needs to be placed close to the eye without touching the lashes. And after taking all these precautions, we repeat the test. These artifactual patterns are likely to disappear. So another example here on your left, you can see how the pattern deviation probability plot is showing defects in the temporal visual field. The GHT is mentioned as outside normal limits. So this patient had a hypermetropia of +3 diopters. Now when by properly placing the trial lens, we repeated the test, we can see how the visual field has improved. Lid artifacts can occur when a partial ptosis goes unrecognized, and these defects are more obvious on the grayscale printout, as you can see in the report on the right side. Usually, these errors are not indicated as outside normal limits on probability maps, and they do not trigger an abnormal finding on the GHT. These artifacts can be easily avoided by temporarily elevating the upper eyelid with surgical tape while the test is being performed. Now we'll talk about the errors that can happen on the patient's part. So they can be learning defects, fixation losses, high false positives, and high false negatives. Very often, when patient performs a visual field test for the first time, we get slightly decreased visual field sensitivity. But when this test is repeated by carefully re-instructing the patient and supervising the test, the results often improve. So this is what we call perimetric learning curve. An example here on the left, we can see that the visual field is showing a defect in the superior visual field with GHT outside normal limits, and it actually looks like some glaucomatous damage has happened. Now, this test was performed by the patient for the first time. When this test was repeated by carefully explaining the procedure to the patient, we can see how his performance has improved. Talking about fixation losses, Dr. Zia has already nicely elaboratively explained them all. So basically, they are considered unreliable when they are 20% or more. Fixation losses can be due to nystagmus, head movement of the patient during the test, or an ill-defined blind spot. So normally, the blind spot is 7.5 degrees in diameter, and it is located 1.5 degree below the horizontal meridian, as you can see in this image. Now, in this test, we can see how the blind spot has been inaccurately marked, and so this questions the reliability of this test. Similarly, in this report, the blind spot there's a downward shift of the blind spot, probably because the patient has looked at the lower diamond while performing the test rather than looking at the central fixation point. So when the patient becomes inattentive during the test, what we get is a cloverleaf pattern. These are unreliable fields. Here the patient responds well at the beginning of the test. As you can see in these raw values, these encircled points are the primary points, which were first points to be tested in each quadrant. And we have received good retinal sensitivity values, but then later the patient stopped responding. These errors can be avoided by training our staff well as to how to instruct and supervise the patient during the test. The patients can be informed that they can take a pause between the test and resume once they get comfortable. And also, if we feel that the patient starts getting inattentive by the end of the test, we can look for a faster strategy. High false positive errors. So sometimes we have trigger happy patients who frequently press the response button without actually perceiving the stimulus. Now, these errors are easy to identify. Firstly, we can see high false positive errors in the report in the reliability indices. Then the glaucoma hemifield test shows abnormal high sensitivity. The measured threshold sensitivities are above normal physiological limits at many test points. Like in this visual field, in the inferior values are all very high. And so the grayscale map also shows white patches. We sometimes also get an inverse cataract pattern with high false positive errors. Here, there are more significantly depressed points in the pattern deviation probability plot than the total deviation probability plot. High false negatives can also occur due to fatigue of the patient, fixation losses, and in advanced visual field loss cases. So we can see that the false negative errors are mentioned in the reliability indices. And also the test duration gives us a hint regarding the patient fatigue, or the patient was finding it difficult to spot the stimuli because he had advanced visual field defect. To conclude, I would like to say that it is of utmost importance to explain the procedure well to the patient, ensure that the patient is comfortably seated at the beginning of the test. The trial lens has been correctly positioned. Grayscale, though of limited use, has its own distinctive patterns for false positives and false negatives and can be useful. And finally, we always need to correlate the visual field reports with our clinical findings. Thank you for your patient listening.